Hello everyone. The last and final topic in our second unit is wound healing. So in the last class we discussed repair of wounds and like what are the steps that are involved in different steps that are involved in repair of wounds. And now we are going to discuss wound healing in briefly. So before going to that, once we'll make a note. Yes. So, wound healing is a topic we are going to discuss, and here I am Dr. Nikita Valluri. I'm working as an assistant professor in Sridatta Institute of Pharmacy. Now, I'm here to discuss a topic called wound healing. So, what do you mean by wound healing? As I said that what was the definition of healing? So the same applies over here. Healing of skin wounds provides a classical example of combination of both regeneration and repair of wounds that we have already discussed in the last class. What is wound healing? So it can be accomplished by two steps. First is healing by first intention. Second is healing by second intention. So healing by first intention is also called as primary union, and healing by secondary intention is also called as secondary union. So in what cases we will be considering healing by first intention or primary union? So it is defined as a healing of wound which has the following characteristics, like as in case of clean and uninfected wound. So the fresh wound which is clean and which is uninfected and surgically incised. In case of any surgeries, first thing we have to do is we have to make an incision. So healing of that surgical incision is also comes under primary union. And in case of without much loss of cells and tissues or any superficial injuries, that also comes under primary union. And edges of wounds are approximated by surgical sutures. So whatever the injury is there, or whatever the wound is there, if it is approximated by surgical sutures, that also heals by primary union. So these are the four kinds of injuries that can be healed by primary union. First is it has to be clean and uninfected, surgically incised, and which is without much loss of cells and tissues. And the other is edges of wounds are approximated by surgical sutures. So these are the kinds of injuries, or these are the kinds of wounds which can be healed by primary union. So what are the steps that are involved in primary union or healing by first intention? So the first step is initial hemorrhage. So immediately after injury, what will be there? There will be bleeding from this injured site or incised wound. So it will be having bleeding. So the first step is we have to seal the first step involves sealing this with the formation of clots. It has to be sealed. So it will be filled with blood which then clots and seals the wound against dehydration. So whatever the bleeding is there, that has to be stopped by formation of clots, and this clot will seal the wound and makes it closed. And then the second step is acute inflammatory response. So it will be taken place within 24 hours of any injury. So when our body gets injured, it will whatever the response that our body gives, we call it as inflammation. So the inflammatory response starts immediately, and it will be there it may take sometimes within 24 hours, and the inflammatory cells will be released, inflammatory mediators will be released. So by third day, polymorphs are replaced by macrophages. Initially polymorphs will be released, and by third day they will be replaced by macrophages. And the third step is epithelial changes. So whatever the basal cells of epidermis are there, from both the cut margins, if this is the wound, it will be having both the cut margins. This side will be one margin, this side will be one margin. So the basal cells of the epidermis of both the margins will start proliferating. So they will start dividing. So once they start proliferating, they will migrate towards the incisional space. So because of this wound, these two are the spaces, right? So they'll start proliferation and they will fill this incisional space. So this process will take place within 48 hours. It may take up to 48 hours and forms a new epithelial layer, which is very thin and delicate. So whatever the migrated epidermal cells are there, they will separate from this underlying viable dermis from the necrotic material. So whatever the necrotic or the damaged tissue material, whatever it is, it will be separated from that and it forms a scab. Generally, in case of any or like subcutaneous injuries or skin damage, we can see wounds in the skin, we can see after 2 days, there will be formation of black colored hard kind of thing will be formed. That we call it as scab. So that is nothing but it will be differentiated. Whatever the newly formed or good cells are there, that will be forming a layer over this, and above that whatever the damaged or necrosed tissue is there, that will be formed as a scab. So the basal cells from the margins continue to divide. So again they'll continue to divide, and by fifth day there will be multi layers of epidermis can be seen. So which can be they'll be formed like a multi-layer, like which can be differentiated into superficial and deeper layers. So in that way, these many layers will be formed, and above that there will be a scab tissue. Okay. And then organization, and then whatever the scab tissue is there and the multi-layered epithelial cells are there, they has to undergo organization. So by third day, whatever the fibroblasts are there, they will get invade this wound area, and by fifth day, fibrils, collagen fibrils will be formed. So they'll form a hard kind of tissue. And in 4 weeks, the scar tissue with scanty cellular and vascular elements and a few inflammatory cells and epithelialized cell surfaces form. That we have seen in repair of wounds, right? What are the different steps that are involved in the closing of wounds or healing of wounds? Like neovascularization, neovascularization, fibroblast formation, granulation tissue formation. The same steps will be taken place, but here we'll be studying in a stepwise or day-wise manner. So by third day, fibroblast will be formed. By fifth day, collagen deposition will be started, and in 4 weeks, it will be forms a new tissue which is having newly formed blood vessels, fibroblasts that we also called as myofibroblasts, and collagen tissue and polymorphs. So all these will be formed as a tissue. And then fifth step is suture tracts. Suture tracts. So what do you mean by suture tract? It is nothing but it's a separate wound which incites the same phenomena as in healing of the primary wound, that is filling the space with, it also involves the same steps. First, filling the space with hemorrhage and inflammatory cell reaction, epithelial cell proliferation from the margins along the suture tracts, and then again for fibroblast proliferation, collagen deposition. So these are the same steps that will take in case of suture tracts. But whatever the individual suture is there, that individual suture tract will be having a new an individual process of wound healing. So when these sutures are removed around 7th day, much of the epithelialized suture tract is avulsed, and the remaining epithelial tissue in the tract is absorbed. So whatever the excess is there, that will be debrised or necrotized, and whatever the thing which is required, that will be absorbed. However, sometimes the suture tract gets infected. That is also called as stitch abscess. So after doing the suturing also, sometimes there will be formation of abscess formation because of bacterial, if it is not properly sutured, or if there is any spaces while doing suturing, or if it is not properly cleaned before suturing. So at that time, there is a chance of getting infected, that we call it as stitch abscess. And then our epithelial cells may persist in the tract. So as I said that these epithelial cells that has to be, some of them has to be cast off or removed, and some of them will be absorbed. But sometimes what will happen, they will remain within the suture tract. Then it will form a thing called epidermal cyst will be formed, or implantation or epidermal cyst kind of thing will be formed. So the scar formed in a sutured wound is neat. So when it follows all these steps clearly, the whatever the scar that is formed, that will also be neat due to the opposition of margins of the wound. And if in case of suturing, if you use some adhesive tapes, then at that time these kind of complications like formation of stitch abscess or epidermal cyst cannot be taken place. So it's better to go for adhesive tapes instead of suturing whenever it is possible. But it is not possible in all the locations. Only tissues which are like a very clear, then only these adhesive tapes can be used. So this is the example of primary union. So each suture tract will be considered as a single wound. So this we consider as a suture tract. Suture tract. So first polymorphoneutrophils will come. These will be replaced by macrophages by third day, I think. And then whatever the bleeding is there, first it has to be stopped by formation of blood clot. So once the bleeding is stopped, so inflammatory cells like polymorphoneutrophils will be released. These will be replaced by macrophages, and then it will act. It will, whatever the tissue excess is there, it will forms a scab tissue, and whatever the margins are there, these are the margins of the suture tract. So they'll start proliferating. So these are the proliferated cells from the both the margins. So when these undergo proliferation, they will move to the center and will make the size of this the suture tract to be very small. And then by third day fibroblast will be formed, and by fifth day new collagen deposition may takes place and new blood vessels will be formed. So all this will reach the top. So initially first one layer will be formed and then multiple layers will be formed, and this is a scar tissue which will be removed and a few of the epithelial cells will be absorbed, and then collagen deposition. So this is how again the suture tract is normal. It is like the whatever the mark that is formed, that will be uniform and it will be neat will be there. So these are the collagen deposition. So these are the steps that will be taken place in case of primary union. And then healing by secondary intention, it can be taken place when in case of open wounds with a large tissue defect, that means large mass of the tissue is got damaged, and sometimes it is infected, and having extensive loss of cells and tissues, and the wound is not approximated by surgical sutures but is left open wounds which is not surgical, which is not closed by surgical sutures. So that kind of wounds will be healed by the process of secondary union. So the same, whatever the events that takes place in the primary union, the same things will be taken place here, but different having a large tissue defect which has to be bridged. There, whatever the tissue or whatever the healed tissue is there, that will be appearing neat and clean. Here, that will not be taken place. It will be looking a bit ugly because of improper damage and improper healing. So in this process, the healing takes place from the base upwards as well as from the margin inwards. So as in the same as in the primary union, from the base it will move to the up, and from margins it will move to the center. In that process, that will be healed. So the process of secondary union is very slow and results in a large and at times ugly scar. So it takes so much time, and whatever the scar that is formed, that looks so ugly compared to the scar that is formed by primary union. So what are the events that takes place here? Same as that, formation of initial hemorrhage, and then whatever the initial hemorrhage is there, it will be converted into blood clots and then seals, filled with blood and fibrin clot. So it will seal the wound. And then inflammatory phase. So here macrophages will be released. So these macrophages will remove the debris as same as like in primary union. And then epithelial changes. So as same as like primary healing, the cells which are from the margins will be proliferating, and also the cells which are in the below bottom will also start proliferating, forming the epithelial spurs till they meet in the middle and re-epithelize the gap completely. In primary union, only from the margins it will go proliferation, but here along with this marginal replication, along with that again from bottom also it starts proliferating, and all these newly formed cells will together join at a point, and they will close this space. So even though they undergo proliferation from all the sides, it will not be possible for it to completely cover the surface with the granulation tissue. So in this way, pre-existing viable connective tissue is separated from necrotic material. So whatever the pre-existing tissue is there, that will be separated from the damaged material and clot on the surface, forming scab, which is cast off, same as like in primary wound healing. So whatever the regenerate epidermis, it becomes stratified and keratinized. That means it becomes too hard. It will become stratified and keratinized. And then granulation tissue. So it will be having more formation of granulation tissue as it is open and very large wound. So it is formed by proliferation of fibroblasts, neovascularization. So all these together will form a granulation tissue. So whatever the new granulation tissue that is formed, it will be having deep red, granular and very fragile nature. And then with time it will form a scar on maturation. So initially it will be like a pink in color or deep red in color, and then it will change to yellow, pale and white color due to increase in collagen and decrease in vascularity. So as the time progresses, vascularization will be decreased, and whatever the newly formed blood vessels are there, that also will be replaced by collagen. So because of that, there will be pale and whitish discoloration of that wound. And then specialized structures of the skin like hair follicles, sweat glands, so these cannot be replaced, only the tissue can be replaced. And then wound contraction. So contraction of wound is an important feature in case of secondary healing, which is not seen in case of primary healing, as it is a small wound and open like small wound, and there is this step will not be taken place in case of primary healing. So wound contraction is a step that will be taken place only in case of secondary healing. So due to the action of myofibroblast, again the wound contracts and it will decrease the size to its 1/4 size. And then presence of infection, as this is an open wound, there is more chance of getting infected. And also as this process takes place so much time, there is a more chance of getting infection. So when there is infection, it will provoke the necrosis. Suppuration is nothing but formation of pus and accumulation of pus, and thrombosis, formation of large clots. So again, whatever the dead tissue which is formed or the infected tissue is there, that has to be removed by surgical removal of this dead and necrosed tissue has to be done. Debridement is nothing but using some scalpel or blade. We have to clear or cast off all the dead tissue. So if we are doing this regularly, we can prevent it from bacterial infection. So here are the differences between primary and secondary union. So cleanliness of wound, in the primary union it will be clean, here unclean. Infection, usually primary union is uninfected, here it may be infected, and infection can be prevented by doing surgical removal of this dead tissue and necrosed tissue or regular debridement. So in that way we can prevent this infection in case of secondary union. The margins will be regular in case of primary. Here the margins will be irregular because of, as it is open wound and large wound, it is also damaged from the bottom to the top. The sutures, here the suturing can be done, here the sutures can't be used. Healing, so scanty, that means only a few much less amount of granulation tissue will be formed along the suture tracks. Here it will be filled with granulation tissue in order to fill the gap. And the outcome here, the scar which is formed will be neat and clear and linear. And here the it will be contracted and irregular wound. Complications, as I said, that if there's epidermal cells, if they remain within the within the process and not being observed, then it will form epidermal cyst. And here there is more complications like suppuration, that is formation of pus and sepsis, so which require debridement. So these are the differences between primary and secondary union of wounds. So if you go through this is the large wound. It's not, the margins are not clear. Margins are not clear. So the regeneration of these surrounding tissues will take place from both the margins and also from the bottom. And these are the inflammatory cells that got released. So these are the newly formed blood vessels which undergo neovascularization. This is the scab which is having necrotized or damaged cells. These are the macrophages which bring about the clearance of these damaged cells. These are the plasma cells. So these are the fibroblasts that will start, and then this gets accumulated and will seal this damaged tissue. So here the size is also decreased, and then it undergoes contraction of collagen. So thereby it will form a clear, it will be healed completely. As this is a large wound, here there is a chance of getting infected. And then coming to complications of wound healing, as I said that infection is a complication. If there is infection, it will delay the process of healing. And then epidermal cyst, in case of primary union, if these epidermal cells, if they remain within the cells and not getting absorbed, there are chance of getting this epidermal cyst. So this is a picture of this epidermal cyst. So here this is the formation of an epidermal cyst. And then pigmentation. So when there is wound, healed wounds may have some rust-like color due to staining with the hemosiderin. And then deficient scar formation. That means whatever the scar tissue that is formed. So this is the scar tissue formation. So as it is not properly healed, it will be having inadequate formation of granulation tissue. It will form a pit-like thing that we call it as deficient scar formation. And then incisional hernia. I'll show the picture of incisional hernia. This is called incisional hernia, as a newly formed tissue is very delicate. So whatever the things are there, So it will whatever the internal organs are there, as it is very thin, they'll move into the other part that we call it as incisional hernia. So if this is a surgical scar, and if it is not properly healed, whatever the contents or the organ which is present inside the inside this suturing, that will come out due to this delicacy of this surgical scar. So that we call it as incisional hernia. And then hypertrophied scars or keloid formation. Hypertrophied scar is nothing but it may contains like, in keloid formation there will be projections of connective tissue can be seen in case of keloids, and in case of hypertrophied scars there is excess formation of this connective tissue, and they are confined to the borders of the initial wound. Like hypertrophied scars, this is a hypertrophic scar, so they will be confined to these margins. Then coming to keloid scar, here in the middle there will be projection because of this excess collagen deposition. So that is keloid scar. Tumor like projection can be seen, and excessive contraction, because of this excessive contraction it will be leads to formation of contractures or cicatrization. It's nothing but, see, if this is has to be because of excess contraction, this finger is moved in this way. It will not bend. So this is also a complication of healing. Cicatrization. So that is called as Dupuytren's or Palmar contracture. It also takes place in the legs and also in the penis region. And the other complication is neoplasia. So these are the complications of wound healing. This is all about wound healing. So it takes place by two processes, that is primary wound healing and secondary wound healing. And what are the complications of wound healing that we have discussed today. So by this our second unit is finished. I hope everybody is clear, and thank you all. And thank you everyone for being patient and